Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, late, but let's start. So, we are taking this topic. Last week we have started online. Can you all hear me? Online, somebody please. Counselor.
Oh, yes, sir. We can hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Not here. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. So far, we took the elements that represent in overall audit risk. We know what is overall audit risk. Overall audit risk is auditor is issuing improper opinion. What is the opinion supposed to be issued, but the opinion is wrong? What is the opinion supposed to be issued, but ultimately the opinion issued is wrong. So we call improper opinion, not proper. So we call improper opinion. So audit risk means in case if the auditor issue for some reason or the several reasons improper opinion. Now what happened? Somebody might think how can that is possible? Because what is the audit opinion supposed to be issued? It should be issued. No. There can be some sort of like, maybe somebody can say audit evidence is not sufficient enough. Or maybe some of the audit evidence is not provided the proper base or the conclusion. Somebody, think about like that. It is very much possible. Otherwise, we should not have a concept like this. In real life, auditors may also do mistakes, something like that we are discussing. What is the opinion supposed to be issued, but it's wrong ultimately what's the opinion issued. There are three basically the elements it will cause this to happen. Inherent risk, control risk, detection risk. Let's say Albert and Company. You guys, auditors, you want to start the audit of financial statement. Albert and Company. So you meet the accountant and obtain the financial statement, and then you start. After a certain period of time, let's say a couple of days, you spend the time, you realize there is no internal control system. There are no controls. There are no controls. Who wants to sign the checks? Who wants to approve the payments before signing the checks? This must to be signed by, let's say, accountant, and this must be approved by finance manager. This much goes to the CFO. There is no such any procedures, SOPs, standard operating procedures. People are doing on an ad hoc basis. Whatever they want, they do simply. There is no proper controls. If no controls in the particular organization, we call that as inherent. The reason why we call that as inherent. Nobody can change this. Inherent, in Sinhala we call avenika. Some of the day-to-day life things that you do, your friend cannot change. Now, I read a book which says, despite the fact how urgent you are in the morning, let's say already, like today what happened to me, let's say you already late, but the amount of toothpaste that you take to the toothbrush every day in the morning, if you measure the quantity is same. You're already late, but the toothpaste, the amount that you take to the toothbrush, you measure every day in the morning, quantities almost Same. That comes naturally from the human beings. Pass the message from the mental schema. This is not enough. You take again. This is not enough. You take it. Despite already all it. That is we call inherited. No, people can't change that thing. It will take a lot of time if you want to change. So similar to that, in organization, if you have any lapses, controls, drawbacks, also in English we call pitfalls. Can you go and change those? Then tell maybe managing director or the CFO, why don't you introduce some of the approval hierarchies? Why don't you introduce payment voucher? Why don't you introduce some other document? But they say, okay, we will do, you do your job. You can't do that, right? That is up to them. You can't do this. Nobody can do this. Even the company, Albert and company don't realize the importance. There is a risk. Why? Our next topic. People will do. Then no controls. What happened? Eventually it invites people to do frauds. People are attempting to committing frauds because no controls. What happens if the frauds happen and the auditor unable to identify, detect, and that has a lot of impact to the balance sheet and the P&L? You are unable to detect. Your audit opinion is wrong because you were not in a position to capture that. But that fraud been avoided if the controls were there. Now controls not there. Inherent risk no. No internal controls. Another one is control risk. Some organization, when you want to start the audit and evaluate the internal controls, they will say, oh, we have the controls. See, all these controls. Controls are there, but there are lapses. Controls are there, but there are lapses. Which one is better? Comparably. Better in the sense your risk is somewhat minimized. From your viewpoint, auditor's viewpoint, which one is somewhat good? Not having controls or having, not having controls, so controls are there, but lapses. Somewhat good for you. That means probability of occurring fraudulent activities somewhat minimal. Which one? Inherent or control? Inherent means no internal controls. Control means internal controls are there, but there are lapses. Which one is better? Somewhat. Control risk because internal controls are there. And this one is purely for you. This one, detection risk, is purely for auditor. And that is the only element in this overall audit risk. Auditor can have a control. Auditor does not have any control on inherent risk, neither control risk. Only the difference between these two. Here you don't have internal controls. Here you have controls, but lapses. That is the only difference between the two. But this is somewhat. But this one, you as auditor, you perform the audit procedures, but due to various reasons, some of the audit evidences that you were expected to collect, not able to collect. Some of the audit evidences you are expected to collect, but not able to collect. Whose mistake? Client mistake is auditor mistake. Auditor. That is your mistake. So out of these three elements, this is the only one belongs to you. But this is very, very unreasonable. You know why? We have a concept called audit risk. that is purely applicable to auditor, not to the client. This audit risk concept applies 100% to auditor. Audit risk means auditor is issuing wrong opinion, improper opinion. Now the thing is, this audit risk applies 100% to auditor, meaning is this, and audit risk comprise 3 elements where auditor can control only 1 out of 3. You see how unreasonable. But you can't go in front of the court and say, my dear Lord, what happened? In this audit risk, 2 out of 3 elements I cannot control. Those are inherent risk and control risk. So I had only 1 out of 3. So I am also a human being. There could be some mistakes, but you can't say so. That's what I said. It's very unreasonable from the side of auditor. But we have to live with this. And this is we call naked truth. Okay, we have to live with it. Okay, so this is the concept. And last week I can remember, this is the only area in auditing you have maths. You have maths. In a sense, we take this formula in a different way to do small calculations. Inherent risk, IR. Control risk, CR. Detection risk, DR. Inherent risk into control risk into detection risk samanai equal overall audit risk. Very rare you get maths in auditing formulas, but we have this formula. Always this overall audit risk should be keep at where? Last week we discussed. Overall audit risk should try to keep at where? Where? As much as close to the zero. Very good. As much as close to the zero. In case there is no internal controls in the organization where you are doing the audit, no internal controls, your risk is high or low? No internal controls, risk is high or low? Very good. Then obviously, because of this is very high, this element is very high, then the multiplication come into effect. This element also may be slightly, if I say here 3, here 1, then the multiplication you have only this to make it as 0.1. 0.1. 3 into 1 is again 3 in maths. 3 into 1 is 3. Now you have to bring it down. 3 has to bring it down to 0.0. Think about your life. 3 has to bring down 0.1. If you take another example, there are internal controls. Because of that, your internal risk is 1. Because you have internal controls, you don't have much control risk, so it's 0.5. Multiplied by, again you have the box, you have to make it as 0.1. Now in this instance, blue color, this company is having internal controls. Because of that, your risk is not 3, you're only 1. Because of the control risk is also not that much high, it is not 1, it is 0.5. Now your multiplication goes 1 is to 0.5 into this should be equal to 0.1. That means 1 is to 0.5. Bring down 1 is to 0.5. 1 is to 0.5 has to bring down to 0.1. 3 versus 1.5. In the blue color instances, the work that you want to do is very much minimal. So this is where we got somewhat maths applied. So you have to decide whether overall audit risk is high because of no internal controls. No, it's low already because there are strong internal controls. Based on that, you have to do the adjustment with this element, detection risk. That is the only one you can change. Okay, I'll ask this one. In red color instance, you realize 3 has to bring down to 0.1. 3 has to bring down. What you can do for that? Compared to blue color. If you are the same auditor goes to red color, blue color, now you have a difference. In red color, to bring 3 is to 0.1, what you will do? One or two things. Last week we discussed. That's what I'm asking. Auditors are doing basically audit with the sample. Haven't yet discussed, but you guys have some in your and goals. In red color, whether your sample size is bigger or in blue color. Is it a red color scenario or blue color scenario? Sample size should be larger, bigger. Red or red. Number of crew members, staff members in your audit team should be strengthened in the case of a red or blue. Red. Time that you've taken to complete the audit should be extended in red or blue. Red. Then you can reverse. Okay, right. Hope you guys are clear. Okay, right. Similar discussion we had when we were doing audit planning, but still we can recall the memories. When you determine your overall audit risk, now it's only the factor that you want to consider whether my audit risk is high, moderate, or low. Only these three is possible. Now, when you want to consider whether it is high, moderate, low, number one, whether it's a first audit, whether it's a recurrent audit. Your answer, high audit risk. First audit, recurrent. First audit, very good. Any thoughts, rational? One rational, why? First audit, if you take compared to recurrent audit risk is high. One rational. You don't know about the people. You don't know about their transactions. You don't know whether they have a longhand method double entry system or the ERP system or so on and so forth. You don't know. Not knowing means risk. So that's why when it comes to first audit compared to recurrent audit, naturally audit risk is higher. Naturally. That's the term you have to use. But also I will ask, naturally first audit risk is high due to this and that and couple of reasons. Let me ask a question. people into audit firm can also basically, no, I got to know because last week that you were saying that you are the money. Boy, go to Luckily. Partners, I don't know. Now tell me, now naturally, first audit risk is high. It does mean, when we say first audit, naturally audit risk is high, implicitly it means, Vyangartheng Theruma, recurrent audit, there is no high audit risk. Is it true or is it false? False. So that is what you have to catch. Comparing these two, first audit is high, but it does not mean recurrent audit risk is always low. No. That's very good. Okay. So size of the organization. Size we can say whether it's large, medium, or small. Sorry, very small. Large, medium, small. Your risk is naturally high. Large. One or two rational. Because of. Very good. Transaction wise, compared to the what medium and the small, there will be number of multiple transactions. One more. Transactions more. That's not right. That means you have to do a lot of work, maybe sample and things, you have to consider a lot of things. Staff additionally. One more. Yeah. There should be a lot of internal controls covering those. Good, very good. Yeah. So compared to medium and the smaller size, larger, audit risk is high. First day we discussed what is our largest company. First day we discussed Walmart. Walmart. And I told you, every second you count, they are selling wall clock. About the operator with your loss of people. Just imagine. Just imagine the size. When I want to say about Walmart, there's this interesting story about some of you guys never think this is possible. Because you all, I can remember said very first day, majority of you all want to be entrepreneurs. And I can remember the way that I have accepted what you said. Really. Because country need people like you all. Obviously, you have the skills, everything because you do all these studies. In India, majority of you all know, richest person, Mukesh Ambani, with no argument. He is having a lot of Reliance, plus all this. In India, this particular group was able to defeat Mukesh Ambani with this business model nobody can even think of. Per day, highest revenue earned by this group, more than Ambani. Anybody heard company called Dambawala in India? Dambawala? Dambawala. Not heard. Today, maybe during the break, in the evening, you can search the Google. I don't want to say many things. You know their business model. Carrying, tiffin can lunch box. When the people go to office, they take the lunch from the home, deliver to the person. For that, we are getting small tip. And this group recorded highest revenue per day than Mukesh Ambani. In Sri Lanka, all the MBAs, but I got to know because when I was doing my review, all the MBAs in Sri Lanka, including Colombo campus area, this topic is taking. You know why this? I'm not going to insult Saturday morning this group. ඒගොල්ලෝ කවුරුත් ඉගෙනගෙන නැහැ. They never go to school. උගලෝ අර දෙනවා 6 sigma කියලා concept එකක්. ඒක කියන්නේ මේකයි. I'll stop at this point, but it's very interesting. Huh? People like you all 99.9999 is accurate. What you are doing. You do something, it's 99.9999. That means 100. They have voted 6 sigma, this team. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔයගොල්ලෝ බලන්න YouTube බලන්න. කට්ටිය අහනවා මේ 12 මාට්ට කියනකොට 12 මාට්ට කියනවාද කියලා. Exactly at 12:30 lunch එක මේ සුඩින් තියනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ lunch එක deliver කරන්න traffic තියනවා නම් helicopter hire කරනවා. Think about their mental schema, you know. We have to serve the customer. It's not our first. I'll stop at that point. Because it came because of Goldman, Ambani, and Ambawala. Think about it. It's not always what you think is the business. Change the world. Okay, fine. Let's take the next one. Okomalaga. එයාගේ තොප්පිය දාගෙන ඉන්නේ. දේශීය අතුලක. Gandhi. Prabhakar Lassan. Nakawala in India. Nature of the business operation. Now, this is not about the size. This is not about the size, but this is about the nature. See the nature. The nature කිව්වම I would say very simply whether it is a complex or whether it is simple. Obvious, no? In which circumstance your audit risk is high? Whether it's complex business, simple business. Complex. If you don't understand still what is this term complex, very easy. At a time, more than one business, more than one business at a time. Construction, plantation, banking, hotel, they do all complex. Somebody here having good knowledge financial accounting, this complexity having several businesses in financial accounting or financial statement or ledger accounts, whatever. System. What is possible when you have several businesses in this organization? There is a company, they do only manufacturing. There is a company, they do manufacturing, banking, hotel, all these things. Forget about everything. In financial accounting viewpoint, posting ledger, double entries, transaction, this can happen here. What is? That is one reason we are saying audit risk is high. because you are also accountant. You know that accountant, your friend in that organization probably did this. What is this? What is this? When you have more than one businesses at a time, what could possibly go wrong with the ledger accounting, ledger posting? People who have some good knowledge about Sri Lankan taxes, inland revenue proceedings day to day, I inland revenue එක single entity වලට වඩා groups වල ledger accounts ඉල්ලන්න. Inland revenue department request ledger accounts of the companies. ඔගොල්ලෝ බැලුවොත් majority ඉල්ලන්නේ group of companies, right? That's the same reason. You can do window dressing. Plantation transaction එකක් ගහනවා hotel එකක් අස්සේ. Hotel එකක් ගහනවා බැංකුව අස්සේ. Because you can get some tax benefits and things like that. Window dressing is very much possible. Be careful. That's all it is. So complexity means how many businesses at a time, basically. Now, hang on for a moment. Now, sometimes your organization is larger. Naturally, there is a high risk, larger, naturally high risk, but business model is simple. Isn't this clear? It's quite practical what I'm talking about. Business organization is larger, and because of that, there is a naturally high risk. But nature business model is simple. One business. You have quite somewhat mitigated risk, right? Large unada having only one business. Quite okay, mitigated risk. What about this? Size is larger. Business model is complex. Be very, very careful. It will be a nightmare. Seriously. Very, very high risk. Smaller. Size is smaller, naturally low risk because of smaller. Small in the naturally low risk, but complex. What I want you to do, this bullet point and this bullet point takes together when you are doing the audit. Okay. We separately discuss for knowledge purpose, practically. මේ දෙක club කරලා කඩ කරලා. මෙතනදී වා small low risk කිව්වට here because of number of businesses at a time low wedge එක මෙතන කරනවා. right. But you are lucky if the small simple. But why you want to be lucky to do easy things? You must always take the challenge. Okay, right. I hope can understand. Okay, good. Level of knowledge. Okay, what I can say about the level, again, you may have a good knowledge. Let me take the term good in English. You may have some average knowledge. Or your knowledge is big. What do you think? If you apply this to this matrix, if you have a good knowledge, chances are very high your risk is low. because you have good knowledge. Accountant cannot take you for a ride. Okay. But if you have a weak knowledge, they will take the chance. And your risk is high. In the ready what did you get? First day we discuss. Auditorium can only to listen. In English, Oxford Dictionary auditor can ahana vitara katara. If you talk more, the other party capture your weaknesses. That is cause high risk because they will take you for ride. Okay. Weak, high risk, good knowledge, low risk. Somebody here knowledge of the business means what? One or two aspects. What do you mean by knowledge about business? What areas of business? Number one, we call business model. Whether it's manufacturing, footwear. Sapattu adara local business එකට දාන්නත් පුළුවන් පිටරට යවන්නත් පුළුවන්. If that is sent to the foreign market, there is an element of added risk and forex. Gain or loss. ඒවා just කළා තිබුණ නැත්නම් P&L is wrong. Likewise, what is the business model? Do you have a good knowledge? I told you guys, I had an opportunity to do an audit in Sri Lanka, the very, very, very rare business. I don't know whether any of you all have had all so far, but I wish that you all should have. Cutting and polishing gem and jewelry. And I think they made it. So I had a good opportunity to 2 years consecutively to do the audit. What are the mistakes I did during their stores visit? We are entering into the stores which has gems. Okay, I had that opportunity. I will not mention the company names where they were situated. Not nice. Basically, you have to remove the clothes. They will provide you a separate kit because scanning machines, things are there. Very interesting. They are about handful. Boxes. Can't touch politely. So, anyways, inside the box, I did a mistake. I am telling this because that's fine. There's this very beautiful one compared to the one like it's average stone that you get when you're walking in the road. So I accompanied with this team. This much should be expensive. I did that mistake. But halfway audit done. Okay. Then he was very nice guy who took me. No. Look, it's not the shape and what you see outside is where the value is determined in gems. This one is the most expensive in our store at the moment. He like something I did a mistake. That he did not took me for a ride because he was not a accountant. But I should have not come during the visit. Anyway, so it's very interesting, So knowledge of the business is all about, do you have some good knowledge about the business? You know that. Can we expect transactions such as purchase of cements, number of tons or bags in a bank? Cement purchase කරා කියන double entry එක බැංකුවක තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Just asking. Yes or no? Not possible. It is possible in where? That's right. Do you have the knowledge? It's a very, very classic example I can take. Knowledge check. Okay, right. Some good knowledge, whether you have weak knowledge. Skill and the capabilities. The other day also we have the three things, sorry. Skill, capabilities, and experience. Experience, prior audit experience. But you have to have skill set and the capability. Knowledge already discussed. Knowledge already discussed. Skill. Then skill. Exhibiting skill is different. Where what you have inside. Knowledge can be the passive that you store here in your mental skill. Skill can exam paper that is your skill. And your capability. Take the look at what a knowledge and the skill, but the difference, things like experience, prior similar audits. Prior similar audits. If your skill, capabilities, experience is good, risk could be low. If it is weak, risk will be high. Okay, then take the model. Right. Availability of the resources. Resources means your resources. Sorry. Auditor's resources. Resources, physical, human. Take a moment. If you have sufficient resources, generally what will risk is low. But if you lack with the resources, what a parisameng risk is high. Resources that could hamper your activities. You have to manage. And time. Time. Deadline audits. Be careful. Be careful. Because if the client come and say, we need the audit report by this date, which is today's 22nd of November, 15th of December. And if you want to do this in a company like Haley's and all, I'm not ambassador for Haley's, but quite a Sri Lankan larger company doing very well. So, if you want to start, if I am the team leader, I know 2 weeks is not enough. Magician can put one way, but we are not magician. We are very, very average, rational accountants in Sri Lanka. We can't. Even you work 24 hours, which is not possible. Human beings. So they can put it right. You have to be very careful. It is our other right now. We have a topic later we will discuss. Withdrawal from the audit. Sri Lanka is one of the big issue. If you withdraw from the audit, you are very, very professional. You exhibited your professionalism. But withdrawal from audit, there's a small topic I will discuss with you. So you withdraw. There are enough auditors. Be careful with the time. Very rare. Nature of the internal control system. Our next topic. Nature of the internal control system, whether it is strong, strong, weak. Internal control system. Strong. Very, very strong. Good. Your risk is naturally low. Why? Controls are strong. But if the controls are weak, be careful. Be careful. Number two is right. Frauds and errors are very much probable. Be careful. Be careful. So, make up in the nature. Whether it is automated or whether it is longhand method. Longhand method can manual. Automated manual. You have to make a payment of 1 million. You know, payment voucher, I think 10. See. What is it? Paid sale, good. Ideally, which color should be? Blue or red? Red. Paid sale, ideally, I'm going to client propose red color. So it's paid. Now you are taking this to, sorry, before you actually fix the sale, then you go to maybe CA. Probably after MD. The manual. So you have a system. You can do ERP, Oracle ERP, SAP. So you are entering this one. If you enter, no, enter the AP. AP client select supplier. It automatically comes here. Prices already there. You can't change. Taxes already automatically applies. Brilliant. You have to not take your photo print out. You have to just submit. And it goes to this guy. Add a notification there, voucher at in there is go through. Then it goes through. Whether it's automated or manual. Which one is good? Approving payments is automated is good. Take your time. Take your time. Automated is good. Your viewpoint, company, your viewpoint as auditor, or the automated payment voucher approval system, manual. Okay. You as a auditor would like to see it went through system. No, it's file. It's available manually. Which one you would like to see? Manual. Didn't you manual? Both that make me something. Mama na. Manual naman. Why? Hari saril, maybe करती उत्तर है. Why? In gathering audit evidence as topic, the most strongest audit evidence gathering methodology is what? Inspection, parikshan and signal. Around the world, not in Sri Lanka, inspection tamai atisarthakam audit evidence gathering methodology. Why? We are human beings. Api asai allala balan. Allala balu apne tena boruwa. And the other thing, if you don't know about the system, what you have to do? Enakila indol auditor. When I'm making approval, saying, I know you are very knowledgeable about system, but I'm just saying. But that is available in who asana give us a Be careful. Many people believes automated environment is good, but please don't do this. Just say only I'm saying. I have Oracle University training certificate also. I know Oracle ERP very well. So, from the viewpoint of auditor, please, automated environment is quite risky. Be careful. Okay, right. So, this is not your knowledge. This is not about your knowledge. Knowledge about the top management. Knowledge, skill, and experience of the top management. Not your knowledge. We are talking about knowledge of the managing director. You have this experience before people into audit firm talking to managing directors? Yes. Very good. You have to do as auditor. එයාත් එක්ක කතා කරද්දී තේරෙනවා knowledge එක තියෙන මට්ටම. There is no point we have the knowledge if that guy doesn't have a knowledge. First of all, he or she has to have a good knowledge, skill, capabilities. Investment in shares. කියන concept එක ගත්තා. මම කියවන්නේ last week paper daily FT එකේ පළවෙනි පිටුවේ තිබුණා මෙයා ගැන. අහලා තියෙනවද දැන්? Investment in shares කියලා කියන්නේ you buy some company's shares, believe in that. මොනවාද expectation share buy කරනවා? One is dividend, the other one is capital appreciation. ගන්න ගන්නට වඩා ඉරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. තව එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක possible? ඔරක දන්නේ. ඔය දෙක තියෙනවනේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් even Sri Lankan businessman ඔක්කොටම දිනනවා පරදිනවා. gambling තමයි. දිනනවා පරදිනවා. Regardless, you have a very good knowledge about portfolio management. මොකද ඉස්සරහට ඉගෙන ගන්න. Financial management වල theory එකක් තියෙනවා portfolio management. ඒකෙන් තමයි shares ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. මේ ලස්සන ගණන් අදින්න තියෙනවා, ප්‍රස්තාර අදින්න තියෙනවා කරන්න ඕනේ. Even if you have a very good knowledge about that subject topic, still you will fail. ඒක තමයි nature එක. අපි කතා කරන්නේ අනාගත දෙයක්. ලෝකෙ ඉන්නවා කියන්නේ ගත්ත හැම ෂෙයා එකක්ම ගත්ත ගන්නට වඩා විතර. දැන් අනුපාතය. Anybody here knows the name? Master in the world. Very simple guy. අවුරුදු ගාන ලෝකේ richest person. හැබැයි යා තාම එයා වාහනේ ලවන්නේ යා. No credit cards. පළවෙනි දවසේ පොඩි ගේ ඉන්නේ. පාරේ යනවා ඉතින් තනි. Who is this person? ඊවල ගොඩක් දේවල් තියෙනවා. Even if you don't raise that. නම කියන්න සර්ච් කරලා බලන්න. 95 දැන්. Warren Buffett. American guy, Warren Buffett. All the shares. අද වෙනකන් ගත්ත හැම ෂෙයා එකක්ම ගත්ත ගන්නට වඩා වැඩි වෙනවා. That's we call skill. Okay, I hope had a good knowledge. Yeah, බලන්න ඒවත් කියව ගන්න. Warren Buffett. Okay. Given them zero product. Okay, right. You know that the biggest relationship between these two. I don't want to reiterate the importance of this audit opinion. Right? You are the auditor. Audit opinion කියන්නේ your output එක. මේක තමයි කරන්න ඕනේ. Rest of the world මේක තමයි expect කරන්නේ වගේ audit opinion. Now if you take these two audit risk and audit opinion, this is the relationship. This is the relationship. If your audit risk is high, if your audit risk is high, chances are very high your audit opinion is wrong. Your audit opinion is wrong. And if your audit risk is low, chances are very high your audit report is correct. That's it. That's the relationship. ඒකට තමයි මාන්සිය එන්නේ. ඒකයි කිව්වේ බිංදුව ළඟින් තියාගන්න. 0. Keep it close to 0. Isn't it? We can discuss like this inside the classroom. Very, very difficult. ඒකයි මේක කියලා තියෙන්නේ. Okay, right. I told you already. Something very, very unreasonable happened to auditor, but you have to live with the truth. හේතුව inherent risk cannot control by the auditor. වැඩිද වැඩිම තමයි. Because that depend on organization. That's up to them. They will introduce the internal control system next year. හැබැයි audit එක කරන්නේ මේ year එක. So no inherent risk is very high. What to do? Live with the truth. Absence of internal control system here already discussed. Control risk can't control by you. That is a main company. We have internal controls. Okay? Lapses. Lot of lapses. Be careful, please. Be careful. And yeah, what do you have to handle? Other anything area already discussed earlier. Is it this careful? Are you going to There is no internal control system. Albert and Company. Bertie and Company, there is an internal control system. Have they lapses? That a Palamangani present. Albert and Company, there are no controls. At the moment. Bertie and Company, they have, but there are lapses. Okay, though, yeah. What about hand? Parisan window. Hari and the image. While the vigilance, what the top of the Albert, the body, Adi said, Mangani vigilance, get a risk with a hundred. Albert and Company internal controls, snake, other. Yeah, that. When you shake the hand, much internal controls and Tamadaran. Bertie and Company, they can control the movie, internal controls, or Parisang and rolling. I'm not asking this. Any topic you are right and discuss. Parisang and no vigilance. At this in the bar. And Parisang and Machine, very good. Akira Malaga, I'm already no. And a Parisang. Which one? Whether Albert or Bernie. This is a country. Which one? That verti. Anybody wants to say, Albert? Verti ke pindai. Like verti.
Exactly the division is.
Okay.
Whereas we would think that some of the control there is no.
Okay.
Still there is a division.
Yeah. That is what exactly, and the answer also is verti. දැන් අපි මේ shake hand කරනකොට internal controls නැහැ කිව්ව ගමන් අපි පොඩි එක ටක් ගාලා හැදෙන ඔඩිට් එකේ මේ උඩ ඉඳලා ටක් ගාලා හැදෙනවා වැඩි අමාරුයි. වැඩි අමාරුයි හරි පරිස්සමෙන් කරන්න. හරි අත්තරතම controls තියෙනවා මචං ඈ. කිව්ව ගමන් අපේ තිබ්බ බය ගන්න තිබ්බ බය ටික නැති වෙලා යනවා. ඒකෙන් අපිට අවශ්‍යයක් වෙනවා. දැන් බය නැහැ. බය නැහැ අර ඉතල මේ controls තියෙනවා අර මේ කියලා ඉතල බලන්න අර උඩින් යන්න හිතන් හිටපු විදියට. හැබැයි යට is empty. That's what she is also saying. Exactly correct. So in the mega real like something practical we are talking about. Is it to be very yeah. Having right. A topic that we should not discuss in open forum, but we have to discuss because of our syllabus. Errors, of course, I'm okay, but I'm talking about this. Something very simple, first of all, I want to tell you. We have two terms in English, frauds and errors. In single manchas are valid. I'll take this to explain. I'll take this as managing director, represent the entire organization. American only, but represent the entire organization. In the PNL, there is an entry, double entry goes to the PNL, which is wrong. Already gone, which is wrong. You know, misappropriation to the PNL. In known at the entry. And this entry and this value, when you evaluated as auditor, you realize this guy, company or his company, this entry, Gia Kiala Dano. Eventually, Gia Dano. Eventually, Gia Dano. Bawad actually, no, color. Unacceptable entry. When you study on this, when you observe on this, you realize, yeah, done now. Maybe not here. You're not there. Done. Yeah, done now. You know, road. Yeah, done that thing. Correct. That's very simple. Frauds and errors. Some people want to make this very, very complicated. Rival is result ekai. Result ekai. Done another. Intentional in single. Sachetanika, you know. Non-intentional. Sachetanika, you don't know. Intentional, you know. Unintentional, you don't know. But remember, where the actual They never will come and say, "Man, that's not killer." Will they? No. Anyway, I'm lazy. You should smart enough to capture. Then again, the entry killer. If it is yes, if it is not, it's an error. Some people may have the example that no fraud sellers. Depreciation of machineries. Cost take a 5 million, 7 million, residual value make a 2 million, useful lifetime make 5 years, straight line method. 7 million cost take a 2 million residual value make 5 years, straight line method. Formula එක හරි ලේසියි. හතෙන් දෙකක් අඩු කරා උත්තරේ 5යි 5 5 බෙදුවා 1 million P&L එකට වදින්න ඕන. දැන් මෙතන වෙන එකක් ඇවිල්ලා. ඔක තමයි ඔය කියන්නේ. Depreciation of machinery කියලා 1 million නැතු වෙන එකක් ඇවිල්ලා. වර්ධින්න බැරිද? Especially manual. If ERP or some other, probably it will come. Or else, intentional tax benefits and the other things. එහෙම නැත්නම් ලොක්කා කියනවා. මේ පාර profit එක අඩු කරපන්. හොඳම යාළුවා තමයි account. First of all, accountant must say, "No, sir, I don't do things like that. I'll find another job." But if that guy wants to do that, be careful. Be careful. So this is whether intentional or unintentional. Example here, some people are frauds. Example, very simple. Same result, but whether it's intentional. That's all. That's all. Fraud. What is that all about? I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, right. So that's about fraud. And the product, they tell, I'll go like this. Then my auditor, see, this topic is your risk is high. Your risk is high. In the case of fraud or in the case of errors. Result එකයි P&L having a wrong entry. Depreciation example. Same result. Your risk is high if it is a fraud or it is error. It is a fraud. Reason is fraudster prepare the environment. Fraudster prepare the environment. You are not easily able to catch. ඔක්කොම හංගනවා entries ටික. Entries ටික පටන් ගන්න තැන ඉඳලා ඔක්කොම හංගනවා. You have to be very, very smart enough to capture the entire flow. There are all these other documents. This one only different. Very easily can understand the mistake of this fellow. But all the other documents say something. For example, payment voucher. All the other documents say 5 million. 4 million, 0.5 million. That's a mistake. But same example, 5 million payment taker, 500,000 bill කරනකොට fraudster payment voucher and every other document වෙනස් කරනවා 500,000 වලට. Please be careful. Your risk is high if that is a fraud, though the result is same. A fraudster prepare the environment easily cannot catch the fraud. That famous Hindi movie, Lucky Bhaskar. I was having balance, but make a well study accountants. Lucky Bhaskar, කියන්නේ හොරකම් කරලා survive වෙන හැටි උගන්නන ෆිල්ම්. Similar to DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can. Leonardo DiCaprio. ඒවා මම බලන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය movie ලව නෙමෙයි. You can, earn something other than reading books. Lucky Bhaskar, I think, was very, very popular movie. Kayak gitu බලන්න. Makin ඉගෙන ගන්න කියලා. At last, even that guy escaped. One thing more than there, that is his talent. But my talent is only 1 hour. Ugly thing, but film activity it's okay because you can see how the people are doing this day. You want to be big or something. By the way, so this is the story, whether it's intentional or whether it is unintentional, and based on that, we are discussing. Now, if you take this company cash, misappropriate kan pula berjadian. Company cash, misappropriation. You call petty cash here. Well, petty cash is nothing, but you call petty cash here. Macam kena yang 5,000. I'll do one. About another guy wouldn't know. Actually, I have now I'm keeping the company, but this is for the conversation. If this happens, very, 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 very rarely, very, very extreme circumstance. Because if panda uttara khamak mo neti hetu karna, mamona tara kadar. I myself decide that is not a problem. And I big context again, but I decided that is something okay. But if this happens weekly, monthly, like the style, fashion, pattern, then of course, we have to take to the customer. That's how we have to decide whether. Maybe panda intentional tamaya. But especially plantation audits and all when I was doing, there are very innocent people. They need sometimes money, because there are reasons, you can understand why I'm saying that. I don't feel like I don't feel, there are circumstances. It's not that I let the fraudster chase away, but I know what is the quantum of the issue. But if others, I report. That's what I can do. So you have to decide this misappropriation of cash. Assets. Asset one child. Assets one child. Assets. Motor vehicle in the company. Tell me how you can do a fraud. Next day you will come to office. That's it. Kita akan amaru aja. Ya, udah pelan. Motor vehicle belongs to the company. What kind of one job? Sorry, my audience that. What kind of a fraud we can expect? Huh? Good. But I want that to come at last, but he's correct. You can use motor vehicle belongs to the company for office purpose. But if they're used for personal reason purpose, take a fraud backup regardless whether you can measure in monetary terms. Own a mind pull make it a fuel tikai, maintenance tikai, very extreme. In other take a one job. Again, quantum is correct. A will extreme. It a calling home lacing current one. Well, partner. Okay. Can you answer? How many things you can do? I don't ask you to do, but these are the things people are doing. Oh, maybe the go control that. Talking about Caliban. Well, how do you control? How do you control fuel? Fuel kahano matawai. There are companies, I will tell you, but I don't tell. Well, then I will like parents. Whether it's not bad, don't talk about me, but I know. Sri Lankan, some government, some even private companies. Yeah. You as accountant. What did they care for that? MD to propose currently. Monitor. Go what the very good. Flow the we have to have a formula index and make a look at the picture about chicken at the van, make up the car, the lorry after the transport manager, whoever person is this. If no person aside, while the department take finance, and when you are pumping the fuel, always make sure you pump full tank. Okay. Okay, no? Right. So there are things, those are internal controls. This is our topic. Frauds and errors. Now, see why people are having examples separate one can the errors in it are lesson in much other. Human mistakes. Man-made mistakes in the thing. Human can get the mistakes, the calculation mistakes. Legend is the posting mistakes in the conceptual mistakes. That particular staff member done make a type asset wrong account conceptual. So there are mistakes like that, true. But my point is, don't have it because then you are in trouble. These are errors, these are fraud. No. Anything is possible as a fraud, as error. Result is same. Where it be done. With the pattern. That's it. Naturally, risk is high when it is a fraud. Why? Fraudster create the environment in such a way that's all. I have one real life example. Few investigations I have done in my life. Only thing, sometimes my boss is not allowing me to do investigation because sometimes, but sometimes I do exceed. Earlier I told some people, they have this real reason, next time don't. But there are instances I took people. this particular incident out of the club. In one of the plantation in Sri Lanka, both the government and by foreign party funded money. And this event we call eradication of dengue. Dengue Mardana Vyapar. There's a complaint. Complaint came to government. Matramulla Plantation Housing Development Trust. Regular Lanka plantation control. Why this plantation company is having 230 million one share? All the plantation companies having one share at last. Balance sheet. Plantation companies balance sheet of Lanka. 230 million, this million. Have a Kiroli Kakti. What is that share? Golden share. I think treasury, government. Sri Lankan, all the plantation companies having one share to government. Oh, no, Mavila. Under the plan is a secret. Come on, you must know these things, please. That we call golden share. Take one historian. The bathroom is the office control correct. Then tablet capital. Then my boss took me. Then I took a team, only boys. Now they can only exactly quoted. හරියටම ගහපු ගාන රුපියලටම අපි හදලා තිබ්බා. එයා වැඩිම ගහලා තිබ්බේ කෑම වලින්. එයා කියනවා මේකට මෙච්චර කෑම ගෙනාවා මේ කෑම වලට තමයි මේ සතියක ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් පුබිලක් දෙන්න. අපි ගියා කෑම කටින්. එයා දැන් chat එකක් දැම්මම බිස්නස් අන්තිමයි සන්තේ අපි ගිහලා මේ කොළඹ ඉඳලා ඇවිල්ලා රේ මේ කියලා මේ පොඩි වෙනවා ෂිෆ්ට් බෑක් ඇවිල්ලා කට්ටිය ආරේ මේ කියලා අන්තිමයි බිස්නස් ඔක්කොම කියනවා මේ ඉතින් එන්නේම නෑ ළඟදී ලොකු බිස්නස් එකක් කියන්නේ we took this guy vendor කඩේ මිනිස්සයා කොච්චර ලෙවල් එකට ගෙනාවද කියලා හිතන්න ඌ පාස්පෝර්ට් එක පෙන්නුවා සල්ලි දාන්න ඒවද ලොකුම එවිඩන්ස් වල this is what I want to tell you is about the talent අනේ අතම පරාදය නඩුව පරාදය that guy උදාහරණයක් ගන්න දෙලොක් ගන්න ගියා. How that incident. ඉලෙගී ගන්නේ that is given for this, you know, kind of a work, no. For කරනවා නම් there is a way that I have to do it. Okay, right. By the way, there are stories like that. What's the time you want to take? Hear it out. Oh, okay. Also, we'll have a next. Okay. It's not one or two I think. Until they come, attendance also they have come. So let's discuss and meantime. Let them do it. Okay, now we are taking detection risk out of 3 elements: inherent risk, control risk, detection risk today in the morning. And fortunately or unfortunately, only the element audit and control. We are talking about that detection risk. Now the thing is, already discussed before the break as well, but to reiterate, if that want to be a fraud, you have just that. If that want to be a fraud, your detection risk is high. But if that want to be an error, your detection risk is low. If that is a fraud, detection risk is high. Why? Fraudster create the environment in such a way you cannot easily capture the fraud. Create the environment in such a way. But if that want to be an error, it's just mistake. As a rational human being, you can capture errors. Unless you are a very smart person, you cannot capture frauds. If you cannot capture frauds, it's your fault. Detection is high. You can't go and say, I'm a chartered accountant. How can I capture the frauds occurred in the organization? Fraudster is smarter than me. Fraudster is smarter than me. You can't say the stories, no. You have to be smart. How the fraudster can do frauds. So you should be better than him or her. Then cyber attacks. Make attack, cyber attack. So fraudster is smart. They have to be smarter than the fraudster. That's make your detection risk is high. So please be careful in an environment where no internal controls, internal control system people are doing frauds. Because they know there is no controls. So they will do. You are in a trouble. Again, internal control system is there, but still be careful, please. That's the take home. That's lesser. Be careful. You are in a trouble ultimately, whatever excuses you give in front of the court, Other than, end of the day, you are in liability nomination and then here court again. That's what we have. Better that incident not happen someday to you if you are on. Take a week, correct? Okay, no? Right. That is what written in text. Okay. But if that going to be error, very easily can be captured. You can take the example that I took for that depreciation. Machinery depreciation, mistake now. Accounting policy is still the same. Again, straight line method, cost is 7 million, reducing balance 2 million, useful lifetime 5 years. Accounting policy is same, all the other source documents same, double entry worthy. Obviously error, obviously mistake, fraud එකක් නා. Accounting policy එක වෙනස්. Of course source document වෙනස් කරනවා. අල්ලනවා. Okay, right. So this is the topic with that frauds and errors discussion what we want today. Internal control system. I told you guys the other day, I cannot exactly remember whether it is first day. Today we were saying it is Walmart the largest, but that day I can remember I told you Enron was the largest. And this company, Enron, again make Walmart එකත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. World largest company. This company collapsed overnight. මම කිව්වා මට. Shut down. Company shut down. And the reason is internal control system weaknesses. That's all what is here. There are some board of directors. I told you, I think. They signed blank checks. Blank checks signed. Give it to me. Second place. There are companies in Sri Lanka. Company type the land එක company type. එක දවසක් යනකොට individual කෙනෙක් type. But I cannot give example. There are companies in Sri Lanka. Creativity ගෙවනවා 18 times. එකම employee. Yeah, who නිකන් වෙන්න බෑ. But real life. That is because lack of internal control system. You know that it is necessary, but for several reasons, you are unable to do that. So all these are possible. Simple. But there are ample enough examples. මේ land වගේ එකක් හිතන්නකෝ. හිතන්නවත් පුළුවන්. land එක අයිති company එකට. After certain period manager එක ගියා ගන්නවා. ඊට company. How that is possible? So that is what is internal control system related issues. So what do you mean by internal control system then? It should be policies, number one, and procedures. policies and procedures adopted by the organization මොකටද? Protect the assets. Protect the assets. Especially cash. Minimize occurring frauds and errors. Jumping off. Okay. See, policies, procedures. For what purpose? Protect the assets, cash especially. Minimizing frauds, errors, and make sure accurate sets of financial statement prepared. This was. I would like to hear from somebody audience. What is the difference between policies and procedures? Policy එක උදාහරණයක් කියලා procedure එක කියන්න. Policy, procedure. What is it? කොයිකද ඉස්සෙල්ලා එන්නේ? Policy. එන policy මොනවාද? Policy is a law. Then you circulate among all the staff. Circulate එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන් under policy එක. Procedure කියන්නේ අර දින එක කරන එක. So the policy is the law, procedure is the practical application of the law. දෙකම ඕනියයි. Okay. Both should be there. නැද වැඩන්නේ. මොකටද ඕනේ? Protect all the assets including cash. And we including cash highlight කරන්න. There are many assets. Land, motor vehicle, why cash? Specify කරන්න. Where is the වංචාකාරයෙක් කියලා? ඇත්ත කියන්නේ? ඔව් වංචාකාරයෙක් විවිධ ජීවිතේ දවසක ගත්තා. වෙන වෙන ඒවා මං අහන්නේ. Yeah, sure. Do you think that someday in your life you will be a fraudster? Idea got that? Maybe. That's very good. Maybe. Wait. ඔගොල්ලෝ වේද නැද්ද? රෝඩ්ස් එකනේ. වේද? නෑ බොරුවයි. වෙයි කියපු කට්ටිය යන්න. මමත් වෙයි. වැඩි පුරව chances තියෙන මොකද? කලින්. You manage. You are looking for jobs. ඇත්ත කියන්නේ. ඇයි jobs හොයන්නේ කවුරු මිනිස්සු මේ jobs පාරු කරන්නේ? ඇත්ත කියන්නේ. End of the day money, no. End of the day money. Topic we should not discuss. Ugly topic. Money decides everything in this world. Ugly topic. But we have to live with the truth. We have to live with the truth. That is ever the statement that you are making. Doing. That's why specifically cash. Cash talks. Cash talks. Cash talks. So be careful. If the company having cash transactions, lot of cash in petty cash, somebody petty cash can key amount at the petty cash. Eh? How much? 12,000. Petty cash, how much? Box it. Here, 1 lakh. 50,000. Huh? Man give 3 million dina kila sali. Bad. Ara individual level aap na kya na kaam lakshya tiyak tira hamadaam lag. Lakshya tiyak. Anything is possible. Then never do it. So if that is the cash, be careful. Cash because it talks. So what you want to make sure occurring frauds and errors minimize. Term minimize. Right? Zero back. No company can make sure frauds and errors zero. That is not possible. That is. And finally, your financial statement is accurate. Internal controls start. Minimize frauds and errors. Okay. Safeguard the assets, including cash, and accurate financial statement prepared. Internal control system comprise policies, procedures. There is a law circulated among staff. Policy is the law. Procedure. And it should not a question to be asked by now. Everybody knows why you should have internal control system. Because I organization, but if you think of your auditor, utmost important, no? Having strong internal control system can take. What risk than that thing? Which risk? Element having strong internal control system can which risk is low here. And inherent. Comparably control risk is minimal. It will minimize both inherent risk and control risk. Having strong internal control system. Okay. And now let's see policies, procedures, that's fine. But let's take one by one. What are the elements in internal control system? If you say there's internal control system in the organization, what are the elements? What are the elements? Make a automated, manual, no. It could be automated or it could be manual. There are elements. Number one. Control environment. Now this is quite difficult to understand. Control environment is number one, but that is difficult to understand, and I want you guys to understand what is this control environment. Control environment is this. If that is board of directors, control environment කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ mental schema. ඒ කියන්නේ attitude. Control environment means top management attitude. Top management understanding. Top management behaviors. Etc. Why people cannot understand? Can you see the attitude of people outside? Can you guess my attitude at this moment? Attitude, my understanding can't see outside. Behavior somewhat you can, but majority can't. The biggest problem why the control environment people don't understand is it is not appeared. Something within. Top management, mainly the attitude. You go and talk to board of directors and say having internal control system is good. Then that fellow might say, better you talk about another subject. I don't like internal controls. You got my point. Another boss, you go and meet. Do you have internal controls? Yes, yes, yes. We are very much concerned on internal controls. You got an attitude there. Because I mean, top people, tamai. Because attitude internal control. If they take seriously internal controls and internal control asset hai. But if they don't take casually, something don't want pakena, internal control expect karane pa. How the top people assess their attitude determine internal control system. When that is the person decided how much of budget to be allocated, whether internal controls we want to automate it, whether we want to have the flow charts. Yeah, decided. Boss. Yeah, give no money. So the control environment is because of that very, very important. Aspirations, attitude, those are very important of top people. They have to take seriously. Number two, before you introduce the internal control system, you have to assess the risk in your organization. Morning we discussed. Depend on the size, whether it's larger, smaller. Depend on the nature, whether it's simple, complex. Morning of category. Based on that, you can assess the risk. Now, this is not auditor, organization. Organization themselves assess the risk. Number two. Attitude then assess the risk. risk එක වැඩි නම් controls එක වැඩි කරලා like that. Then now think about this. Point number 3. Point number 3 is not possible. Point number 3 කියන එකක් නෑ. 1 එක අහන්න නැත්තම්. දැන් අපි එවෙලේ කතා කරා fuel පාඩනවා කියලා. Before the break. Again, we discuss what is the best control we can have. So, then we have enough work to do. Hey, don't have attitude. Hey, don't make an end. You know, but don't take it. Hey, don't take it again. You get my point. Control procedure, every driver has to sell you formula, index. ඒක එන්නේ කවුරු ආකියොත් boss. If boss say no, index එකක් එන්නේ. If you want to have control procedures, control environment එක positively එක ගන්න ඕනේ. Okay, right. Very important communication. Communication කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. Here you have board of directors. Here we have finance. Here you have admin. Here you have HR, marketing. Here you have middle layer. Here you have lower layer. Likewise, people are there. Communication has to happen. Index එක fuel. හරියට වැඩ කරනවා නැතිලා කවුද කියන්නේ? We have introduced a control to control the fuel expense. How they communicate කරනවා වැඩ කරනවා නැති. How accountant. How they communicate කරනවා fuel index is working well. Accountant, CFO, boss, someone else. Fuel index එක ඕන වෙනකොට fuel ගහන්නේ මොනවටද? ගෙන්ටයිට යන ඕන ගහනවා මොස්සේ වෙහි කරේ. කවුද බයි බලින්නේ? Drivers. So the company ගේ drivers තමයි කියන්න ඕනේ. Index එක වැඩ කරන්නේ. So the communication should go to all these levels. So that is very important. Communication. Even so, index is there, that's the first problem of communication. First, you have to communicate them, then they have to communicate back. Then the monitoring. Frequently must be assess the controls. Controls, think about it. Simply you introduce, there's no point. Every quarter. Get your internal auditor, get your external auditor, have some assessment. We call monitoring. Things can go wrong. So then you quickly get involved and correct those. That is part of the monitoring. Then I will come to the last where many people asking question. There is an order. Finally, my accounting system. Not get on with the first control environment, how they are attitude. Okay. And their risk assessment can understand. Based on the risk only, or to think about the control. Right. Control procedure can be automatically done. Communication means down and upward communication. Monitoring means you have to. Accounting system suddenly you brought in. People asking question, is this relevant? Anybody here have some thought like, leaving auditing aside, I hope you people are good in financial accounting. What is the requirement to bring your ledger accounts here, accounting system? Talking about accounting system, ledger accounts ටික මෙතනට ගේන්නේ. Part of the internal control system element එකක් වෙන්නේ මේක. Oh, well, majority non-accountants are, but I will ask from Una. Why your ledger accounts want part of this? Morning I took an example. And answer is there. I took an example morning. Before break, frauds and errors කතා කරන්න example එක. Okay, but okay, that's good, but take the accuracy. Even better, I took example. Frauds and errors, intentional කියලා දැම්ම unintentional කියලා දාලා දක්ව පැත්ත දැම්මම ඉතුරුයි. I remember. But then control. Intentional, unintentional example I brought with right hand side small this one picture. What is that? P and L. What I told in that P and L. What's happened in that P and L? There is a wrong entry goes to the P and L. And whether it is intentionally or unintentionally fraud and error. That's the example I took. So that's what the reason that you are bringing into account. Okay, තමයි කියන්න පුළුවන්. fraud එකක් වෙලාද නැත්ද? error එකක් වෙලාද නැත්ද? account set එකේ වැරද්ද වෙන්නේ. Your ledger accounts. That's why ledger accounts part of the elements. Very simple. That is the window, mirror that shows you still mistakes are happening. කවුරුයි කියන්න එපා මේ වෙනවා. Okay. Okay, right. So make sure when the internal control system are implemented by the organization, all these 5 elements are there. Control environment, risk assessment, control procedures, communication, monitoring, accounting system. Okay. What is the contribution to ICS can internal control system to auditor? ඒක දන්නවද නේ? If you have a strong internal control system, your risk is, can you complete the sentence? Your risk is low. Good. එතකොට contribution ICS auditor දෙන්නේ. If your ICS strong, it gives green light for auditor. You are free to great extent from the risk. And the other side of the same coin, if the ICS weak, risk is high. It's a red light. Here the green light. Here that is the contribution. But the what was part of the one given green light, red light, similar story here. So it's like you stop at this color light. You as auditor, before you knock the door, open the door, meet the counter. Look at this. He'll airline that good one. Doesn't matter, but you have to decide. Okay, right. So that's the contribution. able to minimize audit risk. Here. Now, naturally, because of your risk is low, because of strong ICS, risk is low now. ඔයා product free stress එක නැහැ free වෙනවා. Free වුණා. You can මෙතන වචනයක් ගන්න වෙනවා. Unusual. Not usual, unusual and exceptional. They will add. Not usual, unusual. Sorry, there's a printing mistake in the norm. Not usual, unusual and exceptional. Auditor mind free. The moment your mind becomes free, you can concentrate on exceptional areas. I took example. Bank is purchased this many cements, tons. Exceptional area. On that, fully concentrate on mind free because internal control is strong. It's a bliss. You can concentrate on unusual areas, exceptional areas. I never concentrate on auditing. Those will have issues. You can manage the time, minimize කියලා තියෙන්නේ. You can manage the time. බයක් නෑ ලොකු. Resources effective utilize කරන්න පුළුවන්. You can ask people to do this, do this, do this. Mind is free now, okay? You know, you're like මේක බලන්න. අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා this issue. අපි ඒක evidence පාඩමේ බලමු. You as an auditor, when you are gathering evidences, you always go to the external sources. When you are gathering audit evidences, naturally you would like to go for external sources. Abhi to bank reconciliation ek kela. Bank reconciliation ek accountant dena meeting. But you keep that, call the bank, get the bank statement. Externally, you have a lot of confidence. If the internal control system in that organization is very, very, very strong, why? Yeah, mistakes correct. Why? Internal control system is very strong. So you have very good opportunity to curtail down some of your efforts to gather external evidences. Can't go and tell because of internal control system is very strong. I thought my majority of evidences should be internal, but I was wrong. Sorry, can't say. You have to take the decision wisely. External also you have to capture, but don't have that much effort. Okay, right. Look advantage. Customers confirmation 2 to 3 weeks auditors. At a waste of your time. Supply confirmation, bank confirmation. Wasting your time, no? You cannot complete the audit until those receive. It's like auditor is controlling by third party. It's not a pleasant environment. Auditor should not control by anybody. Huh? Okay. Some of your day-to-day works can minimize. Not avoiding, can minimize. If the internal control system is very, very, very strong, you would ask staff members stop at that point. Enough. When they are verifying certain items, enough. Now enough. Why? Controls very simple. And also this one, see, most of the companies are having internal auditors. I worked for 2 years, BLC, internal auditor. No, 2 years. We don't look at the financial statement. We balance the controls. Internal auditor. Some small audits කරනවා අපි. Payroll එක ගන්නවා. EPF, ETF, gratuity, deduction, EBIT එක අනු වෙලා ලස්සන. Then we take sales transaction. We take purchase transaction. අපි file එකක් දාගෙන ඉන්නවා. We are reporting audit කරනවා. Now external auditor come and meet us. සමහරවිට යාළුවෝ මචං කොහමද? See, have you done some payroll audit? යාළුවා මගේ. Yes. Can I get those? Hey, out of that, because of you, I'm giving. They have no trust internal auditor. How that trust be? Because of internal control system is very strong and knows that very well the job done by internal auditor. Mama karawa again. You can take that. But again and again and again and again, you can't go and say, I took the work done by internal auditor. I did a mistake. Sorry. So you have to take the decision. Okay, no? Right. To the end of the discussion, I'll take this as well. Why I want to take this topic? If you can remember, just after the break, you can't make frauds and errors. Zero. Occurring frauds, errors, zero karan bad. Not me. All practically bad. Can't do that. Why? People can ask questions. These are the reasons why you can't make your internal control system perfect. Are not there perfect internal control stuff. Why? By number one. Always you do this comparison. We are talking about businesses. We are talking about businesses. So we are talking about businessmen. They always want to earn 2 rupees by spending 1 rupee. Business means you spend 1 rupee, you want to earn 2 rupees. Balance එක තමයි අපි profit කියලා ගන්න. Era business activity. ඉතින් එහෙම තැනක කියලා කිව්වොත් can you put this control? එයා අහනවා how much කියලා. මෙච්චරක් යනවා. Can you put this control? How much? මෙච්චරක් යනවා. Can you put this control? කීයක් යනවා? මෙච්චරක් එයා එකතු කරනවා. මේ දිනේ ආයේ cost එක. Internal control system to be introduced මෙච්චර cost එකක් යනවා. එයා ඔයාගෙන් අහනවා. How much I can earn? If you purchase raw materials to manufacture footwear, there is a cost. You convert that into footwear, sell in the market, there is a revenue. But here, you are spending this much. You are not getting anything as a business. How does that control them? This is the biggest problem. How do you convince people? Like, you know, this much I want to spend, but I am not getting anything physically. How do you convince your boss? This is the benefit කියලා මොකද වෙන්නේ? 5 million යනවා. Sri Lanka rupees 5 million. And here the combination. But you are saying you will get this much. Here the ගානක් කියනවා. හරිද? වැඩි දිනයක් පිළිගන්න. එනවා අස්සන්න ගනිස් කරනවා. How? That is the art. And that's why we have this many internal controls in the world. Otherwise, maybe so okay, but we don't correct back. They will say so. Okay, don't worry. Spend 5 million, you will get this much. Okay, then I will put it. You will save 500 plus millions. කොහොමද ඉතුරු කරන්නේ? මේ 5 million වියදම් කරාම විතරක් ඉතුරු කරන්නේ. කොහොමද? Yo, so far we discussed this topic no. එක විදියක් කියන්නේ. හා? Okay, controls ටික 5 million worth දැම්මම 500 million save කරන්න ඕන. Many things discussed. By the way, people stop doing frauds. People stop doing frauds. Take the answer. If you allow, there are many reasons we so far discussed, but at least I was expecting this to say frauds will be minimized. People don't do frauds. Take it saving it. Okay. Next subject is බලා වෙනා නැත්නම් ඒකට උත්තර දෙනවා නක් ගන්න. කීයද 12? 12 not. Yeah, 12. 12 can only 30 minutes you have. Yes. Okay, sir, I will say. Is that correct? And you have to cross the road. What can you do?
So lunch break is for lunch break is only 30 minutes.
Enough.
No. So we have to go to Laos.
Very good. Make it very I cannot rush this. There are points. Everybody would like to have an hour. But to take up. We have 12 o'clock now. Prepare now. Only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So then we conclude for the day. Okay. We'll continue only thing in your examination. This area quite pet area. So I thought of like not to rush. So we'll take next week. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All the way. Okay. Sorry. Hang on.